Welcome to Political Shift. This is going to be the start of a ongoing saga of the historian's questions. So stay tuned. We're going to be adding chapters. So please like, comment, subscribe, but listen and enjoy. Chapter 1. The historian's questions of an old man after the World War. Set in a wood-paneled study in the woods near a lake. Cold, wet, snowy winter day. You've been through a lot during your years, and as so few remain that have survived the World War, what was life like before and at the start of the war? Well, as it were, I was very much on the same side of the table as you are now. Oh, how's that? Well, there was a period when the generation before me and the generation before them had oral history of the wars. They had frame photos and some military medals on the walls. Some still had an old uniform in a trunk in their attic. Some only had memories, scars, and occasional visits to the memorial garden. I was intrigued by their stoic, matter-of-fact way that they talked about traveling the globe to drop bombs and bullets everywhere. It was an otherworldly like plot, foreign lands, raging battles, new technology. And as I read the history and aftermath of those wars, I was asking the exact same questions you are. How could such events and atrocities even be possible? Right, it's hard to understand why this would happen. I mean, what was the thinking that led to all that? Thinking? Clearly, there wasn't much of that going on. There were many things happening at the time, and the reality of it was there wasn't anyone really interested in what was happening. And that's the distraction part, or I guess the apathy, as it were, of world events. See, most people couldn't label a map of their own country, let alone the whole globe. And like I mentioned before, the older generations were gone. The ones that were left were in home care facilities, living out their final days. There was a long gap between the generations, and I don't mean just time gap. The gap was in ideology, responsibility, and community. One generation never knew what a computer was their whole life. The other never knew that there was a time when there wasn't a computer. See, the older generation thought it was crazy that the younger generation had access to every piece of information that they could ever want, and still they didn't know anything. It was a great loss of just public memory about the wars. So, a little apathy, a little forgetfulness of history, but still, the World War was so nonsensical that it's absolutely absurd to think that that's all it takes for the worst conflagration in the history of mankind. Son, bring me that scotch over there, please. Let me see if I can recollect my thoughts during those years. So many people are worried about the future that they forget about the past. See, I was just a little younger than you are now when I started asking these same questions. Oh boy, let me see if I can remember.